So, I don't know if you guys, if you're on my personal page, you might have seen I made those vegan dark chocolate cake pops, and I planned on making them on one day and it didn't happen. So I actually soaked my dates for longer than I probably needed to. So they were very, very moist. So it put too much moisture in there. So they came out kind of fudge-like. Anyway, long story short is I just had one and I forgot how fudgy they are. And it's like, I'm like, oh my goodness, now I'm going to be like smiling at everybody with chocolate in my teeth. So if you see one, I think I got it all, but just in case, I'm just letting you know. But I will tell you, even though they came out not all that pretty, they taste really good. Oh my goodness, it didn't connect. So you guys, I'm super excited that we're all here because this is a great topic. What happened here? All right, trying to get my iPad up in case there's questions because I can't always see it. And I did move myself, so hopefully we won't be getting any of that, annoyingness coming from Facebook telling me that I don't have a good signal. All right, let me get my notes going here because, that's how I roll, because otherwise will talk forever and I'll just have that whenever it comes up because it's taken its own sweet time. So this is a big issue. And it hit me the other day in the midst of conversations with quite a few different people. And I started to connect a lot of dots with a lot of previous conversations that I had that, we're all in different places. And I sometimes really quick, I can figure out where you guys are at. And maybe most of the time I can really, I know it, but then this one kind of hit me like, I'm like, oh, how did I not realize? All right. So, hopefully, sorry about that. That's awful. I hate when that happens. But anyway, so what we're talking about today is why clean eating isn't enough, what it really takes for fat loss in menopause, right? So here's how it goes. You're eating clean, you're eating healthy, but your body isn't responding, right? You've made changes. You've added in more whole foods. Maybe you've added in more plants because that would be really smart. You're eating fewer processed things. Maybe you've even stepped away from dieting, right? You've stepped away from calorie tracking and logging all your food. Or maybe you are trying to follow a plan that has a little bit of you're trying to do it in a healthier way. And I see this with a lot of you. Now, if you're not this person, that's okay, because believe me, this is still going to apply for you. And yet, the scale isn't moving. The cravings are still winning the game. Your energy isn't consistent. Your digestion might be off. You might feel foggy, moody, tired, cranky cranky AF, and maybe, and most likely, you're not connecting how you feel with what or how you're eating. Okay, so what I see is this, and it might not be all of those, but it might be, there we go, we're trying to get that up, one or more of those. So, we're eating fewer processed. Okay, so what most women don't realize is this. Okay, you can eat clean, you can eat healthy, you can follow whatever healthy diet you're doing. The Galveston, the Mediterranean, whole food plant-based, no oil, no salt, no sugar, all of that stuff. But if you are consistently eating more than your body needs, even if it's the healthiest of foods, you're eating more than your body needs, which means you're not going to be in a calorie deficit. And this is what I see come up if you're not using your own hunger, Rufus, get down, hunger and fullness as your guide. For so many women, what I see is you're eating because it's healthy food. You're eating because it's allowed. It's on your allowed list, or because it's mealtime. You're finishing your plate, not necessarily because you're still hungry, but because it's in front of you. And if you're still relying on rules or plans or even avoiding hunger because you think it's bad, none of this is freedom. None of this is like truly escaping the whole diet culture. It is just another form of control. So let's talk really quick here about the I'm done dieting moment. And I love that for you. I love how many women are getting to the point where they're like, this is not what I want anymore for my life, right? But what I see over and over again is that the no more diets moment doesn't come with any kind of new framework, right? There's no structure for how to decide what or how much to eat. And because most women are not tuned in to hunger and fullness, there is no internal guide to tell you. And I'll tell you, when I mention hunger and fullness, you all want to jump right to fullness. And that's the first thing. Well, how do I stop eating when I'm full? But if you're not actually honoring hunger, if you're skipping meals, if you're underfeeding, or you're grazing without intention, you're never going to be able to stop before you're overfull. It doesn't matter how clean the food is. If your body isn't getting what it needs in the right rhythm and the right amount, it's going to hang on tight. And if you find yourself needing some treat day or some cheat day just to make it through the week, that's not flexibility. You haven't given up dieting. That is just your sign that your healthy eating is still rooted in restriction. The stress around food matters, ladies. It's not just emotional, it becomes physical. The nervous system stays on alert, and in menopause, that alone is enough to block weight loss. So I'm talking about a bunch of different things here that all come into this. What is your intention behind what you're doing? And I want you to remember this, ladies. We are born with the guidance system. It's hormones in our body that tell us when we're hungry and when we are full. We are born knowing this. I've said this countless times, but you go back, you think about babies, right? They cry when they're hungry. They know when they are hungry, and they let you know in no uncertain terms. And when they are full, they stop eating, right? Our body was designed this way on purpose. And through society, through our caregivers, through dieting, we learn to stop listening. We learn to stop trusting our own body and its communication. So what do we need to do? We have to shift from control back to connection. Clean eating is not bad. Of course, I'm not discouraging that. Eating healthy isn't bad. Mediterranean diet isn't bad. Gluten-free isn't bad. Oil-free isn't bad. Whole food plant-based isn't bad. Eating oil isn't bad. But when all of these become another way just to do it right or earn your food or guilt, it is not supportive anymore. What we need isn't more rules. What we need isn't more plans or more restriction. What we need is more reconnection. So this means eating in response to hunger and actually knowing what physical hunger feels like in your body. And it means building meals that are designed to satisfy and sustain you. It means stopping at enough, not stuffed. It is letting your body, not some trend, guide your food choices, and creating a calm and flexible relationship with food that works with your hormones, not against them. Rufus. He likes to be very annoying when I jump on any kind of talks where I'm not talking out loud. And let's be real. Hold on. There is a shit ton of noise out there. If you have been feeling confused by everything you read online, you're not imagining it, right? There is so much noise. High protein is essential. No, protein damages your kidneys. Beans are a superfood. Oh my God, no, beans are full of lectins. Carbs are energy. No, carbs cause weight gain. Fat is fuel. No, fat makes you fat. What is it? Something the fat you eat is the fat you wear. Eat 3 meals a day. No, eat once a day. Snack all day. Never snack. Go raw. Go keto. Go oil free. Go full fat. It is enough to make your head spin 5 million times. And the worst part is it all sounds convincing, but here is the truth. None of it matters if your body isn't responding well, if your digestion is off, if your energy is low, if your sleep is wrecked, or you feel like you're constantly hungry or unsatisfied. That is your real data. That is what we work with. This is why I don't teach one perfect way to eat. I don't tell all of you, if you're here in this group, you can only talk about plant-based. You can only, and that's why I don't tell my clients, they have to go plant-based. Now, of course, I help them eat more plants because it is the best way to eat. But that's my thought. But what you have to do, and what I help women do, is come back to your own signals, because your body is the most trustworthy source in the room all the time. So how do you rebuild trust with your body? You got to balance your plate first, right? Half non-starchy vegetables, a quarter of your plate is a lean protein. A quarter of your plate is a starchy veg or a whole grain. If you're not doing that, then 3/4 of your plate would be non-starchy vegetables and a small amount of healthy fats. But don't rule out the grains. Don't rule out the starchy vegetables. They're not making you gain more weight. Okay, so this is setting your body up for hormone support, blood sugar stability, fullness in your body without counting or tracking. So that was number one. You do need to be setting your plates up in a way that works the best for your body. Number two is you got to ask yourself, am I really hungry? I'm not talking about emotionally hungry. I'm not talking about bored. I'm not talking about it's time to eat because it's 12 o'clock. I'm not talking about that looks good, so I want to eat it. But I'm talking about physically hungry. Does your body need fuel? If you are someone who doesn't notice hunger, and I talk to a lot of you that say that, that is a sign that you are incredibly skilled at blocking your hunger cues. If you don't feel hunger in the morning, 9 times out of 10, it's because you are either having coffee first or you have just really become disconnected from those cues. Think about how your hunger you feel throughout the day. If you stopped eating, you had your last meal at 8 o'clock and it's 8 o'clock the next morning, it's been 12 hours. Of course your body needs fuel. That's 12 hours without food. You're going to have to relearn how to tap back into those. Because if you eat when you are not hungry, regardless of the quality of the food, you do that consistently, you will not lose weight and you can potentially gain weight. I don't care. Yes, you have to eat a lot of broccoli for the extra calories, but to get to 3,500 calories, anything you eat that your body doesn't need is putting you one step away from any weight loss. Anytime. Now, and I'm not saying we never do that, but we got to get aware of when we're doing it. So hunger has to be the first step. So that was number 2. Do you even know what it feels like to be hungry? What are your signs? What's your level 4 on the hunger scale? Like, what's your first sign of being hungry? What's your second sign? What's your next sign? What's the sign when you're ravenous? Most women can tell me that one. When all bets are off and you are like ready to eat cardboard because you let it go too long. And this is not setting you up for being able to stop when you're full either. Okay. So number 3 goes back to number 2. Do not skip the hunger step. Because 9 times out of 10 when I talk to you guys, you're like, oh, I'm doing really good. I stop eating when I'm full. It doesn't matter if you're not honoring your hunger, because it's probably not the truest sense of fullness. If your body does not trust that it will be fed when it needs fuel, it will eat past, it will not tell you when you're full, because it will want to get food when and where it can if it doesn't think consistent food is coming in. You have to remember all of these instinctual, intuitive things we're put in our body to keep us alive back before we had conscious thought, right? So our body had to be the one in control. And as we've evolved, and thank goodness for conscious thought, but we have stopped connecting to what we really need. And I'm going to say that again because I love that line. Your body is the most trustworthy source in the room. Not me, not the experts. You see, it's your body. Okay. So, number 4 is you got to slow down at meals. You have to start noticing how you feel. Your hunger will start to subside as you are eating. If you are eating slow enough for your body to do all its stuff. If you're distracted and you're eating in 5 minutes, no, you're never going to know if you're full. It takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to signal to your brain, hey, we're done. We're full. Super hungry here. Right? And becoming a woman who stops eating at enough, the point where you feel nourished and done, not heavy and comfortable or uncomfortable, that is a skill that you will probably need to relearn. And this isn't any judgment on you guys. This is just what we have unlearned probably since we were 4 or 5, right? Since our parents started telling us, clean your plate, right? Here, eat the rest of this. You know, nothing, it didn't matter how your body felt. Okay. Very passionate about all this, in case you can't tell. I don't like this pinned comment thing. I'm going to have to take that down. Number 5, release the pressure to eat perfectly. You don't need to be salt-free, oil-free, sugar-free, gluten-free, fill in the blank free, unless you want to. And I'd really check your intentions there. Make sure it's coming from an empowered place. But you have to eat in a way that works for your body. Your body, your unique body. I love broccoli. You might not love broccoli, but you might be eating raw broccoli, and that might be why you don't love broccoli. You might need to eat cooked broccoli, right? You've got to watch for subtle signs that you are disguising your diet mentality in healthy eating. Looking for a cheat day or a treat day thinking. Feeling deprived. Obsessively researching or trying to do it better. Guilt after eating something indulgent. Number 7, we've got to zoom out. Food is not the only factor for us in peri to post menopause. You can eat perfectly and still not lose weight. If you are not sleeping well, your stress is high, you are not moving your body consistently, and your thoughts about food and your body and menopause and life are all stuck in all or nothing patterns. These pieces, sleep, stress, movement, mindset, are non-negotiable for fat loss and menopause. They're non-negotiable for you just feeling good in menopause. I was so disappointed in the Oprah special the other day because they did not get into anything around lifestyle. They talked a lot about awareness, and I think it was absolutely fabulous that it was on, you know, a high-profile platform like that. It was on prime time. I love all that. She had great names on there, but it was talked about as though HRT is the only option, is the only tool. And all of this stuff I'm talking about still matters even if you're on HRT. It is not a magic solution to all of this. But these pieces of the puzzle, sleep and stress and movement and mindset, are the missing links for so many of you. So when you stop controlling food in an unempowered way, in a disempowered way, in a restrictive way, and you start listening to your body, it's freaking unbelievable how much progress you can make, how much more energized you feel, how much more energy you have because you're not so caught up in what am I eating at this meal? What's the next meal? Why isn't this healthy eating working? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Why is this not working? On and on. Your meals are satisfying instead of being stressful. You eat less, not because you should, but because you recognize your body feels done. And it doesn't make any sense the majority of the time to put more into it. If your gas tank was full, would you keep trying to add gas to it? It wouldn't make any sense, right? Your cravings decrease, your digestion improves, you stop obsessing, you start feeling better. And yes, weight loss becomes possible because you're no longer working against your body's signals. Now, part of food freedom is that there are times you'll eat past the point of fullness. There are times where your choices have nothing to do with nutrient density and calorie density. But you do it intentionally and you do it consciously and you make that decision. And you're not trying to eat behind your own back and you're not hiding it. You are standing up with authority and awareness and saying, this is my choice. I choose to do this. But I want you to imagine the freedom that comes from no matter where you are at, no matter what is on the table, Christmas cookies, Halloween candy, Easter candy, that you naturally did not want to eat past the point of fullness, right? So maybe you have Easter dinner and then there's Easter chocolate and maybe you have a piece and you realize, I'm really full. I don't want to put any more in. I don't care that it's chocolate. Doesn't that sound amazing? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, all of this is a lot. So I would love to hear from those of you guys that are watching live or watching the replay. How often do you think you use hunger and fullness as a guide for your eating? I would love to hear it. And this is a completely judgment-free place. I will tell you that from all my years of dieting, all my years of learning how well coffee masked my appetite, and I laugh when people tell me they want appetite suppressants. Oh, okay, so you can get even better at not listening to your body. Like, our body tells us it needs food for a reason. Now, is there work to be done? Because you have to know the difference between your body telling you and your brain telling you. Your brain telling you to eat cupcakes is not what we are talking about. It's not the same. But I was so skilled I was so proud when I could go all day without eating. It was like this, oh my gosh, I have so much control. And my body was in such sad shape. My energy sucked. I was so bitchy all the time. Why? Because I was hungry and I didn't feel well. Now, that was right at the start of perimenopause for me, but I was so young, I had no idea I was even in it. So I even stopped losing weight towards the end. Anyway, so if you guys haven't seen it, April 14th, I am running a 4-day menopause reset. It's called Feel Better Now. And I kind of took what we're talking about here and all the other missing pieces to the puzzle, like that didn't get talked about by Oprah and Dr. Mary Claire Haver and Holly Berry and all of those, all the other things you need. How to build meals that support your fat loss, how to listen to your body without obsessing, how to improve your sleep and lower stress, how to create movement habits that feel good, how to shift the thoughts that are keeping you stuck. Because clean eating healthy is only one piece of the puzzle. Okay? If eating healthy, if eating less doesn't work, it won't work for you if your body still feels, can't get my words out here, still feels unsafe, stressed, or deprived. And I'm not talking about finding some perfect plan, but I want to help you understand and work with your body instead of against it. Because I know you got to be tired of fighting with your body. So I'd love to hear any questions that you might have. I'm going to look at these questions here. I see those now. I try to do calorie density. That's very eye-opening and volume. So that, see, Sue, that sounds like way too much work. That's for me. Let me get back to that. Calorie density. You don't have to know all of that if you stop eating before you get full. And have the hunger. Yeah, I try to do calorie density. That's very eye-opening, and volume metrics. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So that way you can eat a greater amount and have the hunger and fullness cues but you're still in a calorie deficit. So setting up the balance plate the way I put there is the most nutrient dense, calorie light way to set up your plate. So if you set up your plate that way, and once you do it 2, 3, 4 times, you don't even have to think about it anymore. Like, that is how my plate always is set up without any conscious thought. It's muscle memory. Then we don't have to get caught up in calorie density, volume metrics. And I'm not trying to call you out, but I mean, that's all very diet mentality. Okay. Go internal, listen to the body, incorporate the knowledge, and see what works. It's definitely a deep dive right now. I realize I have to pay attention to me. Well, you don't need to worry about calorie density because you overeat unhealthy. You have to learn how to stop eating before you're full, right? If you're overeating, it's not a calorie density issue. It is not paying attention to your fullness issue. Does that make sense? Okay. I actually will start to get a little antsy and it will tell me I need to eat and I keep it. What tells you need to eat? Your brain or your body? Make moments that way. If you feel guilty about eating the treat, I don't believe that you can't have treats. But I don't say I'm having a treat now. Treats are just built into my life, right? I never go treat day, cheat day, because that is like, especially when you use the word cheat. So there's something wrong with how you're, in my opinion, how you're doing it every single day if you feel the need to cheat on it. My healthy eating includes now this one is like all whole foods anyway, but it's still, the base of this is all walnuts. That's a high fat food. Would I eat 6 of these? Absolutely not. Do I need to eat 6 of these? No, absolutely not, because they're very rich. Even though it's only raw cacao and then just a little bit of vegan dark chocolate chips melted that I dipped it in, but because it is, it's dates and walnuts, right? It's very rich. So let me get to some of these other ones. What about, then Gail, I would say then if you're not ever feeling full, then I would wonder, are you eating fast? Are you setting up balanced plates? Do you actually know what fullness feels like? Are we talking, do you ever feel satisfied from a meal? I would want to get into a little bit more detail of that. Because our body has the ability to tell us. A lot of times, what I work with my clients is we start looking for it at about the halfway point of the meal. And I would ask you, do you feel the absence of hunger? Do you feel that? And because sometimes we have a misguided idea of what fullness might feel like. So are you saying you never feel full or you always feel hungry? I guess that's where I'm going with that. And if you want to send me a message, we can definitely dive into that and get into some more questions around that. But if you guys haven't signed up for Feel Better Now, I highly recommend it. It'll be in a pop-up group. It'll be, what makes you think you might have parasites? And how about, do you notice an absence of hunger? I'm going to wait here for a second. I'm going to eat my little chocolate because it's so good. And see if we get an answer. What does fullness feel to you? What would fullness feel like for you? Okay. So you feel the absence of hunger. And how for you does that differ than feeling full? Are we talking satisfaction? Because if we're talking satisfaction, sometimes that can be, are you having healthy fats in your meal? Because not having fats can cause a lack of satisfaction in our meal. Are you taking at least 20 minutes to eat your meals? Are they set up with lots of fiber but lean protein? and maybe some whole grains, but at least fiber and protein and some healthy fats. So that would be my question for you. And my next one would be, how is your sleep? I'll wait one more second and see if I get a response. And like I said, if not, Gail, you can feel free to send me a message and we can chat that way. But yeah, so I would definitely look at the balance on your plates and want to know how your sleep is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for us. And Suze, I really want you to jump into that Feel Better Now one, because I'll talk to you directly on this, because I see it so much in a lot of the plant-based groups that I'm in. It's this, we've traded the diet, the calorie counting, the point counting for now calorie density and volume metrics. I just want you, can you kind of see that? I'm not sure if you're even still here. I can't tell who's still here. But it's another way of trying to control this plate in a way that's kind of outside of us, as opposed to getting back into our body. So that's what I would tell you there, Suze, on all that stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump off, you guys. Happy Thursday. I'm super excited for all of you here, and thank you for posing your questions. And I'm always here to help. You know that. I do as much as I can here and in the DMs. So feel free to send me a message and we can do some one-on-one help. All right, you guys, I will talk to you later.